Let's see if it's live.
Saying setting up your webinar for custom streaming service, done redirecting you to the live streaming page.
Okay, should be going now.
All right, it took me to your GTS.
Yep, yeah, it just went live. It just said going live. Join now.
Awesome.
Yep, it's live. So we're good.
Yay, yay, yay.
And that one won't show on the attendees list. It'll show like a separate list for you, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, no, I lost my Zoom window.
All right. I know we're on LinkedIn, so everybody can say hi to LinkedIn.
Hello, everyone.
Hello,
us on
LinkedIn. And we are already recording from what I'm seeing in the Zoom bar.
Yes, and I will provide a copy of the recording after our team is done editing it.
Thanks.
And we are live on YouTube as well.
Yay.
Hello, YouTube.
Okay. Caroline, you can go ahead and switch me over to an attendee.
Perfect.
There you go. We'll be starting momentarily, everyone.
Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. We'll get started in a minute or two. We're just waiting for a few more people to log in and get settled. Thank you. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us. Before we get started, I'd like to go over a few housekeeping items. Please note all of your lines have been muted to reduce any background noise, and we hope you take full advantage of the question and answer section to ask any questions throughout the presentation. If we are unable to get to your questions, our team will follow up with you offline. This webcast is being recorded, and a link will be sent out in a follow-up email for you to view it again or share with a colleague. Before I introduce today's speaker panel, I'd like to tell you just a little bit about Carahsoft. Carahsoft is a government IT solutions provider delivering industry-leading technology products, services, and training to federal, state, local, and education customers on behalf of top-tier manufacturers like AWS, Splunk, Adobe, VMware, Palo Alto Network, and Dell EMC. Our contact information will be at the end of the presentation, so please don't hesitate to contact us for any of your needs. On behalf of Global Technology Solutions, AWS, and Carahsoft, I would like to welcome you to today's webcast, 5 Ways to Rejuvenate Your Contact Center with GTS and AWS. At this time, I'd like to hand the floor over to Anthony Haskins.
Hello, everyone. My name is Anthony Haskins. I'm a pre-sales CX engineer at Global Technology Solutions, and I'm joined today by 2 representatives from Amazon.
Thanks, Anthony. Hello, my name is George Adams. I'm a worldwide public sector senior partners solutions architect, and I also specialize in Amazon Connect.
Hello, I'm Pete Conrad. I'm also a senior solution architect with AWS and work in our public sector team and focus on our public sector customers and specialize within Connect for our business.
So to start with, we'd like to give you a little bit of information about who we are at GTS and then a little bit of information about Amazon Connect. GTS was established in 2014 and is currently an advanced tier partner with experience in a variety of AWS services, whether that be as an Amazon Connect service delivery partner, Chime SDK voice connector partner, or as an independent service vendor on the AWS marketplace by currently placing I think 5 offerings that are all centered around the contact center workloads or migrating, either doing a rapid migration or providing best practice advice, or like I said, doing a rapid deployment for a time-sensitive migration. We also have, as you can see, experience with a variety of reporting solutions, CRMs, and other in-house third-party or AWS integrations. Our most recent advancements at the GTS team are in the generative AI field, so integrating with either large language models or GPT-based models to recommend improvements for Lex bots or live assistance for your agents, improving on your prompt structuring and some of the language pieces, or iterative suggestions, like I said, for the Lex bots. And all of those are really supported from the ground up on AWS. And so with that being said, I'd like to hand things over to George so that he could give you a few details about Amazon Connect.
Thanks, Anthony. Today, I'd like to introduce Amazon Connect, our easy-to-use omni-channel cloud contact center solution that enables companies of all sizes to provide superior customer experiences at a lower cost. With quick setup and scalability, it supports millions of customers while ensuring you only pay for what you use. Designed to seamlessly manage voice, chat, and SMS integrations, Amazon Connect offers automated IVR experiences, intelligent chatbots, and robust analytics. Built with machine learning and AI capabilities, it continuously innovates, delivering improvements as easily as clicking a checkbox in some cases. Amazon Connect has experienced tremendous amount of momentum over the past 5 years and continues to roadmap heavily requested features and functionalities. Amazon Connect offers instantly scalable workloads to handle unlimited agent and contact volumes, making it the preferred choice of customers. Unlike other contact centers, Amazon Connect harnesses the true power of the cloud. With just a few clicks, you can set up a fully managed global telephony network. Within minutes, tens of thousands of agents from anywhere in the world can handle contacts only using a browser and a headset. Amazon Connect automatically scales to meet any workload, ensuring you only pay for what you use. According to Forrester, Amazon Connect customers enjoy 30% hard cost savings compared to other cloud contact center solutions, with some of our customers achieving up to 80% savings through other cost saving measures as well. Leveraging real-world machine learning, Amazon Connect simplifies data analysis without requiring expertise in data sciences. By combining these benefits, you could rapidly optimize contact center experience and customer experience with meeting your business goals and reduce the cost effectively. With Amazon Connect, we have seamlessly integrated various contact center capabilities into a single solution, eliminating the need for separate applications from different vendors. Our holistic approach ensures that the end customer experiences are smooth while empowering the agents to work more effectively. Let me illustrate this with an example. When a call enters your contact center, our automated experience in the Amazon Connect engages that customer in a natural conversation, understanding their intent across languages and accents. Simultaneously, voice biometrics could authenticate that customer and load their profile along with their case history. If it is a new customer, a new profile could be created automatically, and if transferred to another agent, they can instantly access that same updated profile and including the self-service data that was previously provided inside of previous interactions in self-service. AIML support the agent in real time, providing relevant knowledge articles and a knowledge base that is based on the customer dialogue in real time. After the call, a summarization with a customer sentiment analysis automatically populates the case notes and the profiles. This leads to less wrap-up time for agents, and it's all linked to the call record. This integration is just one of the great examples of how Amazon Connect solves common business challenges. So we commissioned an independent study by Forrester Research to analyze customer migration to Amazon Connect. The study revealed that companies faced common challenges with their previous contact center systems, which were effectively resolved by migrating to the AWS Amazon Connect environment and adopting the Amazon Connect solution. Legacy systems required purchasing and integrating systems from multiple vendors, resulting in limited features, seat licenses, hardware constraints, and telephony limitations. This made implementation, maintenance, and scalability for peak workloads or customer satisfaction even to be difficult and expensive. Amazon Connect, at Amazon, we faced similar frustrations over a decade ago with our retail business when we were growing tremendously and experienced rapid growth. We recognized that we needed tools to enable our exceptional customer experiences at the large scale that we were driving. And since existing market products were falling short, we built our own solution, Amazon Connect. Now, I'd like to talk about how contact centers have evolved. Over time, as contact centers have been evolving, so have our customers' expectations. Traditionally, we have all encountered the hassle of providing way too much personal information to contact center to agents over a phone call to a contact center. However, with Amazon Connect, we can revolutionize this experience and reimagine what the self-service experience can look like. Think about if it listens to your natural request, it listens to your voice biometrics, it automatically authenticates you, it provides you your checking account balance, it provides you valuable information that you're calling about without having to actually get to an agent. Picture agents who are actually presented with information automatically when it gets routed to an agent, a knowledge base that automatically finds articles based on the conversation they're already having. These are not hypothetical scenarios. These are actual features within Amazon Connect, and it enables real-time personalization and contextualization of customer experiences. In today's world, organizations already deliver personalized experience in various other domains, mobile apps and websites. But why can't we bring this to the contact center world and make sure that this experience also is there for customers who are looking to get customer at a contact center? Providing a consistent customer experience, regardless of whether the agent is involved in self-service or if the call is routed to an agent. It is crucial for strong customer experience that these are handled in a way that puts the customer first. Equally important is offering customers their preferred communication channel, as any barriers to engagement can be likened to locked doors in a physical store. Just take a look at how these market trends show that how companies who fail to adhere to ever-changing CS standards, they do less business than ones who actually do adhere to the ever-changing standards of the contact center. Customer experience CX leaders have outperformed their competitors with nearly 3 times the margin. CEOs who recognize that customer experiences are most effective, the most effective way to gain a competitive advantage are reflected in their stock performance. Customers seek brands that offer effective and effortless CX, but many companies struggle to deliver delightful experiences, specifically in their contact centers. To build brand loyalty, companies need to understand the importance of continuous innovation. And with that, I'd like to hand it over to Anthony.
So now we're going to get into our 5 tips that we have for you. Ways to rejuvenate your contact center with GTS and AWS. The first tip that we have for you is to scale for growth and manage your peak workloads. And that does sound easy enough, right? But services without constraints, whether it be agent licenses or total number of active calls, really aren't the norm in this sphere. Whether it's usage or functionality restrictions based off of license level, or just cost of the service being increased based off features and functionalities you turn on, truly being able to handle like a peak workload in every case isn't always manageable in some of these other services. So finding a service that can also give you the confidence that you need is also a part of this challenge. However, a lot of these constraints that I just mentioned aren't even an issue or even present in Amazon Connect, right? So whether it's through the use of enabled functionalities and features to reduce total on contact time to reduce cost, such as automated callback or scheduled callback, or creating self-service IVRs to divert issues that may not require agents, or utilizing some new tool sets that just came out that we'll go a little bit further on in later, such as forecasting and capacity planning. So that way you can utilize machine learning to ensure that your agents are always working when they need to be. So, predicting when your peak workloads are going to be hitting your call center and making sure you have the people to staff it. And doing this with a high accuracy to determine those staffing levels and optimizing your agent schedules, again, so that way you have the right people answering calls at the right time, or chats or voice text, whatever channel you want to use. And each of these things that I just mentioned are just a few off the top of our head examples that can be built or enabled in Amazon Connect, right? There are hundreds and thousands of other use cases that are currently out there in other customers' accounts, or that we have experience building, that leverage current AWS tool sets or other third-party integrations, such as reporting tools. And GTS has experience architecting and deploying all of these mentioned features and making sure that they're deployed in a way that follows AWS best practices and provisioned and utilized following those same best practices, whether it be availability, reliability, or any of the pillars that they have. And so, as you can see on the slide, there's millions of customers supported, dozens of languages, over 32 countries, and currently there's over 250,000 live agents, supporting customers on Amazon Connect. And there's plenty of room for growth on it. Next, we have a section of just current customers on Amazon Connect, right? And Amazon moved fast to deliver all of the features that we've talked about and features that are currently planned to be rolling out with close partnership with their customers. So if there's a feature, something in the CCP that you have some functionality that is just slightly different to what we have there, AWS has inroads, and GTS has the ability to maybe even customize some of those things separately from AWS. But either way, there's going to be a high degree of customization, so that way you can have the tool set that you're looking for your business. Andy Jassy, the CEO of AWS, has publicly said that Connect is the fastest growing sphere for Amazon right now. It's the fastest growing AWS service in history and remains to be that case now. Tens of thousands of customers are using Amazon Connect to handle millions of calls and customer center interactions a day, whether that's chat, text, voice, social media. And regardless of the size or the complexity of the workload that we migrate, you do not see an impact to your workload when another one of these large scale customers migrates over. And that's something that, again, helps you manage the ability to know that your peak workloads are going to be safe and secure in this environment. So for example, when COVID hit, there were so many companies, so many organizations, so many businesses that needed to migrate to the cloud because their customers couldn't come to the store anymore to talk to someone. They couldn't go to an office. They couldn't, the agents couldn't go to a workplace. And so all of these places needed to migrate to the cloud very rapidly. And an example is unemployment or health services, basically any human services. Many states needed to migrate very rapidly and had very, very large customer bases that were going to be interacting with these services. A few of them in under 10 days were deployed and handling over 75,000 interactions a day. In cases such as, like I said, unemployment claims, government assistance, anything that was hit in that sphere of just all of a sudden saw massive amounts of traffic and also needed to, adapt to not being able to have their traditional experience. And so this actually leads us to our next tip with George.
Thanks, Anthony. That leads us to our next tip. Cloud services are built to scale dynamically based on demand. This flexibility allows resources to easily be added or removed to match workload requirements. As such, this contributes to reliability by ensuring that services can handle increased traffic or resource demands without experiencing performance degradation or downtime. So our next tip is to ensure that the optimal cloud environment is built to allow for the highest availability and reliability standards possible. Amazon builds some of its services, including Amazon Connect, on top of foundational services that have been tried and tested over time. This approach allows for us to leverage the reliability and scalability of our core services. For instance, Amazon Connect is built with high availability across availability zones using decoupled compute fleet of containers and a data layer similar to Amazon S3. Amazon Connect ensures redundancy and failover through multiple carriers in each region and incorporates highly available session border controllers for audio signaling and transcoding. Additionally, Amazon Connect serves as a RESP-org toll-free operator, further enhancing its capabilities in delivering top-notch telephony services to our customers. In a legacy environment, the responsibility for server and license management falls on your teams. However, Amazon operates differently as a cloud service. With data centers spread across multiple geographic regions, this global presence enhances reliability and availability by offering redundant infrastructure and minimizing the impact of localized outages or natural disasters. The AWS services are hosted in regions worldwide, each consisting of isolated zones called availability zones. These zones comprise of several data centers with redundant power providers as well as backup power supplies, ensuring continuity during power outages. AWS is designed with redundancy and high availability as its core principles, utilizing strategies such as data replication, load balancing, and failover mechanisms to ensure uninterrupted access to services, even in the face of hardware failures or disruptions to specific locations. Moreover, other service offerings enable efficient traffic management across multiple Amazon Connect instances, such as our load balancers, and provide a high level of customization for your specific needs. I'd like to hand it off to Pete.
Thanks, George. So our third point that we'd like to talk about today is native omnichannel communications. And I'd like to first define really what I mean by omnichannel communications. It's not just having multiple channels of communications available to your customers, but giving them those channels and give them a seamless experience. So they may start a session working in chat, but then need to escalate to voice as they have a problem or they want to work with an agent. So we want to make sure that as you're looking ahead, think about ensuring a native, consistent omnichannel communication solution. Most customers understand that this is an important part of their business. And most customers are going to have their own preferred channels of contact. Making sure you can address what they're interested in is really an important part of being successful with your contact center. So, what are the kind of challenges you face in trying to build a solution that's omnichannel? There are challenges to the business because if you're working with existing tools, you may have to negotiate with multiple vendors, have multiple solutions, different licensing options. It can be a complex solution. And you might be doing that in order to get your best interests satisfied today to try to manage costs. But it is setting things up for a more complicated environment. Add on top of that, now you're giving multiple tools to your users. So they've got to balance their effort working across systems. They've got to build in multiple solutions so that you're handing down to your operations team. They may have to build in multiple sets of software to try to maintain a consistent experience, and then have to go through change management and testing and releasing those solutions in order to bring them up. Then on top of that, trying to help your supervisors manage your contact center, you need to have consistent reporting across multiple solutions. So that's a real big challenge. If without a consistent view, it makes it difficult for your supervisors to maintain and manage your cost of your contact center through the overhead to manage your agents and trying to direct them to the places where you need to have your agents. Then just at after those high levels, look at what it takes for each individual agent. They're going to be at the middle of your most complex problems that a customer is going to be bringing to you. They're going to get a lot of tools if they're working with multiple solutions today, and they're going to have to balance those at the same time they're trying to understand, empathize, and work with a customer to solve that customer challenge. So you've raised the bar for what they're trying to accomplish when they really need to lower the bar, help them with consistent solutions, consistent communications, and guided tool sets in order to solve that customer problem. So it's giving your agents the most complex problems and complex tools at the same time. Additionally, when you look beyond that at supervisors and their role in maintaining your system, they're challenged with having that view across your environment. Can they see the right information between different channels and solutions in order to effectively manage, effectively be able to support their agents if they're running into problem calls, effectively balance the workloads between different teams in order to make sure that the contact center is being driven well. Add on to that, then the challenge for the people who are operating and building your system. I mentioned before, we're dealing with multiple solutions, so they have more complex change management. If they would like to bring a new element of the experience into position, they may have to implement it in multiple solutions, go through consistent change control in those environments to test it and bring it into production. And those tools may not really have the right foundation for a consistent experience between different channels. So in the end, when you're having multiple different solutions that are involved, you're going to have challenges trying to get effective and efficient cost management out of the environment, effective and efficient change management, as well as effective and efficient behavior for the agents doing the day-to-day operations and helping your customers. So given those challenges, what are we thinking you should be looking at in order to provide the solutions that you're looking for? What are the characteristics of a leading omni-channel experience? First off, giving your customers the choice of a channel that they can work with. You want them to be able to engage where they feel comfortable. If you're going to make it uncomfortable for them to start, you're already starting with the challenge that you're needing to work through. So give them the place where they can be comfortable. Provide them effective self-service options that may work well across different channels so that they may be able to help themselves through a web chat and work through a bot that can help them with basic needs that can leave them more satisfied, as well as reduce the time your agents need to put into calls. Recognize that you want to have consistent personalized interactions. Anytime the customer is having to repeat themselves, they're frustrated. So that if you can take that experience from one channel, the transcript of what they may be doing in chat, and put that into the agent's hands so they can pick up the conversation instead of start fresh, that's really one of the key things you want to bring into a solution. And this can help you reduce the complexity it takes to manage a call because an agent has better information at their fingertips. So I've mentioned it's complex for the agents that they're going to be working in the most complex challenges. This can lower the bar for the hard work that they're trying to do and make them more effective. It can help them more clearly identify and verify who a caller is so that they're starting off with the right information about the person calling in and they're in a better position to help them. And it makes it easier to give them that higher quality of interaction because they have relatively relevant information at their fingertips and perhaps support them with guided operations. So you know what kind of problem a customer may be coming in with. You can give that agent immediately the kind of actions they need to be successful for that caller. It improves everybody's experience. And with an omni-channel experience, you also have that opportunity to centralize the information so supervisors have better visibility on the day-to-day interactions your agents and callers are going through so that they can help where there are calls that are being challenged. as well as identify the best cased calls and then use them as positive reinforcement to show the teams new ways of handling calls that can improve everybody's quality. In addition to managing those day-to-day elements, that cross-system visibility helps them better manage the day-to-day operations of the staffing levels. They can see where they're getting calls, how they're addressing them, where their staff gaps maybe need to be filled and balanced in order to get the best out of your agents that are working it. So with an omni-channel experience, they can have better visibility. And then last part I mentioned of challenges was the builder and operator experience. With a true omni-channel experience, it limits the scope of change. So they may be able to control it within one centralized solution and be able to have simpler and more consistent and higher quality releases of new functions into production. So given all that, the challenges and where we would see, one of the things that we believe is a great thing for you to consider is what we provide within Amazon Connect. From a customer standpoint, we support natively many of the channels that they're going to be dealing with today. So your voice and your chat are things that are available out of the box. And we have ready-built adapters and reference solutions for building in additional social media connections. And because Connect is built on the AWS Services Foundation, we have a tremendous realm of opportunities for creating integrations. And partners like GTS are well versed in building those to round out and customize the communication channels and customize them for your business and your interests. So we can address that whole circle of engage the customer with every place that they're interested in doing business and the places where they are most comfortable. Additionally, then, when you look at what we provide in Amazon Connect for the agents, there's ability to start with a unified agent experience because all of those different communication channels come through one consistent agent experience. Whether you're using it integrated with a tool and a framework like Salesforce and leading that your agent experience, or using one of our out-of-the-box agents or a custom agent that you may be able to get from GTS, you can have a unified experience that crosses the different channels that a customer is calling in with. So that can simplify the world for your agents. In that experience, you can build all of the right guided interactions, use capabilities to bring resources to the agent's fingertips for them to be as effective as possible. And that's going to reduce training for the agents. It's going to improve the efficiencies of your agents' teams because they're able to more easily switch between environments because it's more easy to access and train. And it gives your supervisors a more consistent foundation of information to deal with the day-to-day operations and the long-term staffing challenges of managing a contact center effectively. And that is complemented by great tools from GTS like DARS. Anthony, would you like to describe DARS for us?
Yeah, sure. So you've probably heard about a bunch of different functionalities and features that can be enabled during the course of this call. And there's obviously other kinds, whether it be third-party integrations, something like Salesforce, integrations with these social media channels, or just overall controls for your call center, whether it be turning on or off experiences, setting a date as a holiday, putting in a message that is going to play at a certain amount of time. We use DARS as a custom management portal because each of the additional features that you start launching in Amazon Connect or in the AWS environment, whether it's through other AWS services, each one of those kind of has their own management portal that kind of comes along with that. So, once we start getting all of these larger custom integrations and custom features, you want your managers to have the ability to control some of these things without needing maybe like IT standing right next to them the whole time. So DARS takes care of that by giving controls to all of the sections that we just talked about deploying, specific to your business. So if we deployed scheduled callback, holiday messaging, custom messaging, and some other custom controls, all of those can kind of be controlled in the same location, as well as with access to things like reporting and some of the other things that you see in the traditional management experience. And additionally, we have things like you mentioned with the custom soft phone. So if other things that we determine that the agents need that aren't necessarily there to start with on the traditional contact experience, we can do things like adding additional caller data to the agent, showing things like the path the caller took through the call center, integrating with other features that are kind of default to Connect that aren't necessarily shown on the CCP, like cases, profiles, or additional context around wisdom. Some of those are shown in the custom agent soft phone that we have. And some of those can even be customized for you guys. Any functionality that we're looking for. As I mentioned earlier, we can either work with AWS to get that added to whatever area, or we can, on our end, create some custom functionality and use that to enhance your agent and supervisor capabilities. And I'll give it back to George with our first tip now.
Thank you, Anthony. We have already touched on how implementing some of our other tips can reduce your costs. However, one of the mistakes we see customers make when they migrate to AWS is to just accept the cost savings they initially gain from the migration and never reevaluate. With GTS and in their evaluations, they can continuously provide best practices and cost-saving recommendations to ensure your workloads are optimized to the AWS environment. This involves regularly evaluating your workload to identify repetitive agent tasks and exploring potential solutions to reduce strain and cost, and equipping your agents with the tools that they need to enhance their efficiency. Continuous improvement is the key to achieving long-term cost optimization and maximizing your benefits of AWS. So beyond the obvious hard cost savings, the Forrester study I mentioned a few slides ago also estimated the impact of efficiency and satisfaction benefits that customers are receiving by leveraging Amazon Connect and their innovative capabilities thereof. These benefits include, to name a few, reduction in call volume, shorter average handle times, reduced training time, decreased system administration efforts, and reduce licensing costs and reduce supervisor efforts as well. This all translates to more and more cost savings. We can think of these as more of these soft costs, the soft cost savings that we were talking about, which could be that extra 80% that we talked about before. While the approximate 30% of hard cost savings alone is compelling reason to consider Amazon Connect and GTS for a contact center, the operational improvements and the improved customer experience offer additional value and savings, and is a more compelling reason for you to go with Amazon Connect and our partner GTS. Anthony, I'd like to hand it back to you to talk about the life cycle.
Yeah, so George just mentioned that continually improving your environment can reduce cost, right? And so the way that we like to recommend doing that, and also doing it in a way that you're informed and can see how your cost savings work, is with a phased approach, right? So this allows you to effectively see and measure, based off of metrics that are relevant to you, how each business decision that you make or integration that you deploy affects your environment. So we start with a one-to-one migration, so that way you can see we migrated from this cost. This is the cost for the exact same workload in a new environment. We're saving money here. Maybe this piece is cheaper for things like, you're not paying agent licensing, or just in general, telephony costs are reduced across the board most of the time. Whether your cost savings are happening there, you kind of have the opportunity to then look at integrating new third-party systems. So one of the most common improvements that we make, either AWS or GTS, is through integrating with third-party service. That can include a GTS service offering, another AWS service, or another business's third-party integrations. So that mentioned as Salesforce, and reporting and analytics tools, or any other automations that we think we need to deploy. And we can also do things like integrating with internal databases or servers that your legacy system currently interacts with. And what we do is use, again, relevant metrics for your business to determine how this next addition is either saving you cost or potentially making your customer experience better. Additionally, because of some of the tools that we have in Amazon Connect, we can do things like percentage-based routing. So that way, when we have a separate environment for development and production workloads, when we have the production workload ready in the first one-to-one migration, we are able to send maybe 10% of traffic to that improved version to see exactly what experience they're having. If it actually is leading to an improved customer experience, it is leading to a reduction in cost. And then finally, again, continual improvement. So understanding that AWS is going to continually come out with new products and continually give you access to them, And that Amazon Connect is going to, again, continually add new features and functionalities that you can sometimes even enable with just a checkbox, right? Screen recording is a perfect example. We'll touch on that a little bit further on, but that's just another new feature that is just a checkbox to turn on with a few configuration settings, right? So continually improving your environment and taking this final phase into account that you're in a place that they're going to make improvements, and it's going to be up to us as on the business side running the workload to potentially enable those functionalities and improvements. And they could potentially, again, reduce cost and maintain cost effectiveness. And that actually will lead us to our final tip.
Thanks, Anthony. So our last tip is, while you're taking a look at your contact center, always also take the opportunity to enhance what you're doing for deploying and managing your environment. Connect starts by standing on top of our AWS services, and we've talked about that during the course of our session today. There's a great opportunity for you to take advantage of those services. Look what you might be doing in your contact center today or on-premise, and modernize and migrate those systems into the cloud. That can do things like bring your environment together to reduce latency between the information you have on your customer data and bring it into the call context. So there are great opportunities to look at what you're doing today and use this as a start of your journey to modernize. You know, the best solutions that you might be getting might not be the things you're necessarily thinking of today when you're looking at your contact center, but are great opportunities to start new thoughts as you're looking for it. So there's new tools, as well as taking new cloud-based approaches, such as looking at code as infrastructure so you can manage the deployments of your environments, or new DevOps tools that we're using to make sure that you're getting the best out of having a well-controlled, well-governed environment for not just your contact center, but your whole business. So there's a lot to be learned in being able to take advantage of moving to the cloud with your solutions. And while you're looking at those parts, I think we need to go down a little bit there.
Sorry.
One more. Sure.
Wrong way.
Yep. So while you're looking at that opportunities, take advantage of services that you may not be thinking that we have deeply integrated with Connect today. You might be expecting that we're dealing with chat and voice and RVR systems, but we've regularly, continually expanded and increased the services that are foundationally included within Connect and brought those things into general availability for you. Bringing in customer profiles so you can have live integrations to source from multiple points data around your customers. So you can bring together your call data with your CRM systems to get all that data centered and brought together for your agents to work with. Using tools like Voice ID, which can take a voice print of the caller, and then you can continually use that to authenticate that you're talking to the right person, and even use for fraud detection. Built into our environment is the ability to establish tasks, so you can automatically support the agent in place, the ability to create their follow-up tasks and make sure they're routed to an agent and completed, so you can manage the full life cycle of your interaction with the customer, not just the call that's happening at the time. And supporting agents and supervisors with tools like contact lenses, where you can take the recording that you're taking for a session, but then process it through our machine learning tools to get transcripts, be able to take those transcripts and automate processes around them to look for key phrases that you might be using in policy so you can enforce the standards in your environment, as well as look for warning words or sentiment to see when calls are going well or poorly. Those poor sentiments or trigger words can be used to actually make sure your supervisor is brought into a call where they need to take action so you can get the best results for your customers. And that contact lens foundation is used to build other services such as Wisdom, where you can bring in a body of your knowledge from a system like Salesforce or additional libraries of documents, bring them in, have a machine learning process, be able to search and organize it, and then use the recordings and keywords in it to bring information to the agent's hands that's relevant to the call without the agent taking actions, so that you're automatically giving the action tools to be more successful with the caller. And that is the areas where you can improve everyone's experience for it. Agents are happier, customers are happy when they get correct, relevant actions. We've built in tools for outbound campaigns. So while your agents may have idle time or you're looking to balance the work that they're doing to keep them energized through their day, they can be doing outbound calling and have that well organized as well in our environments. We've talked a lot about the agent experience today. We think it's been a hallmark of some of the work we've done, trying to bring together an agent workspace that brings these tools together. And again, it's not just having the workspace, but it's having that built on our AWS services and the APIs and the integrations that are available. So it can be customized into an agent workspace that's highly tuned to what your business is doing. So we have answers for you to be able to use out of the box, as well as to get highly customized and tuned for your business. Lex integrated with it. You may have regularly experienced, if you're using Alexa or an Amazon Echo device, the ability to have that natural language-based process in order to help understand what a user is looking for and drive self-service solutions is natively integrated into Connect. So you can get the best of machine learning and get the self-service that a customer is needing, and being able to either tune the interaction coming to an agent, or through self-service, avoid having to use agent time as well. So that can dramatically reduce the times your agents are spending on simple calls. Cases and guides have been elements that we've integrated into the environment. So it's easy to not just know who your caller is, but be able to record specific cases of information around a problem that you're working with, and giving the agent step-by-step guides to help work through the interaction. So again, the agent is delivered step-by-step assistance to be successful with a call, and it's built right into the same contact flows that you're dealing for different communications across the experience. And we've added in new tools for workforce management and optimization to help you forecast the staff you need to support your call center volumes, be able to do through different capacity planning models to look for different approaches to dealing with the volume of calls that you're coming into your environment, and get the best staffing model to address those, and plan those agents day-by-day schedules, dealing with their time off, their breaks, as well as the call that they're on live with customers. And together, they all go into supporting automated agent evaluation, which can be triggered by machine learning and contact lens. So you're focusing on the best calls for the positive experiences to share, and challenged calls so you can correct behavior and make sure things are going right, instead of trying to audit a percentage of your calls and find those operations. You can be really guided towards the right solutions. And that agent evaluation is now supported by being to bring in screen recording for the agent's environment. So you can not only hear what they're working with, but you can see what they're working with too when you're looking at improvements to your contact center. So Anthony, show us a little bit more about how to go live.
Yeah, so you heard earlier that you could go live in 10 days, right? And GTS kind of has a timeline mentioned here to go over that. So one of the things that we mentioned, right, is that it's very, very simple. It's super simple. One of the best features of Connect is that it's simple to set up, right? And the timeline shown here does take into account that it's a simple migration, regardless of agents, regardless of number of calls that this environment's going to be taken. It's a simple multi-level IVR, maybe simple bot, simple integration. And however, with the simplicity that is offered with a quick spin up comes the potential to miss a key step or component that you don't even know about in a new environment, right? You as a customer are using a brand new service, a brand new feature set, a brand new environment. And so this is where a partner like GTS comes in, right? So we can potentially deploy an even more advanced workload than a simple IVR in 10 days. And you don't have the worry of, what if I miss this? What if I miss that? What about this piece that I don't necessarily even know about? And by following these steps, even on a larger, longer migration, we ensure that your migration is seamless and smooth. So we start off with the first day. We get on the phone with you, a digital meeting, kickoff and discovery, documentation gathering. So what is your current environment? And then a comprehensive overview of your must-have requirements, right? So if that's a one-to-one, or if it's something that needs to migrate faster, so that way we can get, your viable workload over, there's some time constraints. What are your must-have, minimal viable workload requirements? And what are the metrics that we need to measure on that? From there, we're going to take the first week first business week to set up, configure, and develop it. And then we're going to internally test it and document everything that we build in a way that someone like yourself that maybe isn't familiar with the cloud environment or some of the functionalities that we're going to be deploying can see a guide of this is everything that we've built, this is how you control it, and this is what it's going to be used for. And then finally, obviously, you have to approve what we built for you before it's going to be usable, and we send production traffic to it. And that means acceptance testing through making sure that everything sounds correctly, looks exactly the way that it should in your environment, and the agents are fully trained and ready to go in the environment, and their experiences are as they should be. And then we get approval. And then from there, it's really just scheduling when the go live should be. It doesn't necessarily have to be the next day after we approve the product, but we'll schedule a go live for your product and environment. And from there, talk about things like ongoing support or, assisted management or anything like that. And then obviously, as we mentioned earlier, when we get that first workload migrated, we want to continually improve on it. So how can we save you costs? How can we make your customer experience better? How can we improve on your agent experiences or enable your agents to enable your agents to be more enabled and better effectiveness, right? And all of those steps kind of facilitate that process. And this actually does conclude the presentation, but before we get over to questions, I just want to touch on a couple things for the next webinar. So in late August, we're going to be sending out some invites for the next webinar. We're going to do a series of 3. The next webinar will be focused on new AWS and GTS product offerings, primarily sphered around AI, ML, large language models, right? And we'll learn also about supplementing existing workloads. So whether you're already migrated to the cloud or looking to integrate with some of those tools that are very, very new in the cloud to enhance your existing workload. We're going to be looking at how to integrate with some of those tools and how they can enhance that those workloads. And with that, if we have any questions, you can go ahead and start posting those and we'll get started answering.
Yes, again, if you would like to submit a question, please look to the question and answer section or the chat section on your screen. We have a couple questions from the audience. Oh, this is a great one. So Anthony, I think this one would be best suited for you. How much would a 10-day migration to Amazon Connect cost to implement?
Sure. So I did mention it was like a simple multi-level IVR. So something like a couple press but one options. Traditionally, a very, very simple migration is going to cost under $15,000, $20,000 for that rapid deployment. Obviously, there's going to be caveats. So, if you're like, hey, I also need to have the ability to integrate with my legacy on-premise server that is going to have all my agent details for their routing and such. There's going to be different things, but a very, very simple multi-level IVR with maybe some simple Lexbots, simple integrations can be very relatively cheap to migrate.
Thank you. Have a couple more questions coming in. Pete, do I have to completely replace my system or how do I gradually move my features over?
Sure. So you don't actually have to completely replace your systems. We can take the different call numbers that you're having coming into your system today. They can either be directly moved to us, and then we can take a portion of the calls, like Anthony mentioned, and use that to split and do A/B testing. A/B testing is the same as balancing it between different environments so that we can continue to use your existing system as well as begin to add in new features. You may choose to do something like keep your voice interactions on your existing system and begin and bring in new features like adding chat or doing new social media channels within AWS so that you can find great paths to blend the things that you're doing today and your customers are using and are maybe have opportunities to improve, but they're aware of and know, and you can expand them and begin to improve over time.
Thank you. I see a couple more. So George, do you integrate with Salesforce or other CRM platforms?
So that's a great question. Pete has mentioned earlier that we actually just released cases and profiles. That's a great lightweight CRM option built into Amazon Connect, and it can also sync with third-party providers. If you want to have it sync, you can also have a third-party CRM be your native CRM tool, and it could be, you could bring one that already exists or build a new one. The ones that we support, that we have connectors for out of the box, are Salesforce, Zendesk, and Marketo. But that doesn't mean you can't also integrate with other CRM tools. We also support AppFlow. So any of the CRM platforms that you can build an AppFlow for, can easily connect those together. Like some customers built out an AppFlow for Microsoft Dynamics, for example, if they had that as their CRM tool. So we are very flexible in our CRM options.
And I'll actually add a note on that today too. We just released a new generative AI-based service that was announced today, App Fabric, for SaaS integrations. So it's based on our generative AI. It's using Bedrock in order to make easier zero-code based integrations across different SaaS providers. So we have foundations for being able to integrate more systems, and I'm sure you can see more of that being able to impact your contact center as well.
And then additionally, at the GTS team, we actually have a kind of a connector that we have finalized for Dynamics as well. And additionally, as I mentioned, other CRMs are going to be capable of being integrated with as well through other AWS services, whether we're using an API gateway, Lambda functions to run code to interact with those services. We're going to be able to interact with most of the CRMs out there as long as they're able to, communicate with an external service.
Thank you. Another question I see is, maybe this is best for Pete to answer. How do we integrate with our identity store?
Sure. So Connect supports integrating with the SAML authentication provider. So because that's a standard-based approach, you can use an identity provider that you're using today. So there's a great foundation for if you're using an external authentication provider like Okta, or you're using your internal Active Directory. Those can both be very simply brought into and used for Connect.
Awesome. Anthony, being cloud-based, what does the modern agent look like?
Yeah, so we've touched a little bit on that throughout the presentation, right? So agents really need to have something unified. It's really kind of burdensome, and it's not that you don't necessarily want to have something that enables your agents, right? You want to have something that makes your agents' jobs easier. It enables them to help your customers a little better. And what that looks like is one tool set that handles almost everything they need. Maybe that's customized sometimes, but maybe it's just having all of the channels of communication in one place. But there's a lot of different, and that answer can be specific to every customer too. What are your agents trying to do to help your customers? What are your agents trying to do to, get your workloads completed?
Thank you. Next one I see is best fitted for George, I think. How much storage do we have, or do you have, for CTR, audio, and video? And maybe how much does it cost?
So Amazon Connect has a data layer built into it that is similar to the S3 data layer. But inside of Amazon Connect, you can also stream or actually just store all that data in S3 buckets externally as well. So for example, your audio and video recordings, they get sent to an S3 bucket of your choosing. Your CTR data, your agent data, that comes out through Kinesis Streams, which you can then use Kinesis Firehose to write those to an S3 bucket. So all of your data is your data, and you can put that inside of these S3 storage locations that you can consider as a data lake. This allows for you to have almost limitless storage, and you pay for only what you use. And since it's S3, these costs are transparent. And also you can use S3 lifecycles to manage your data. So you can do go from the highly available to infrequent access to even Glacier for long-term storage. And you can decrease your cost significantly if you wanted to do that. Let's say you have audit and compliance purposes that after a year you need to take your data and store it for long-term into long-term data storage for 5 years. You could do that with Glacier and minimize your costs. So you can set this up as automatic through automatic life cycles. We also have the ability to do automatic tiering. So based on what S3 thinks you're going to use that file, how often, it can move it between these different storage layers as well, from infrequent access to frequently accessed. And this allows for you to control your costs for your storage. Because I know that in legacy environments, sometimes you have to make the trade-off of, do I store real-time data for 30 days? Do I store it for half a year? Because it does get costly. It compounds over time. But with Amazon S3, this makes it very costless to store vast amounts of your contact center data.
And if I can add it in there, if you have a partner working with you to assist in setting up those rules and determining, what is going to be accessed, you can have things, implemented at the point of production that, like if you know that you only need data for compliance up to a certain amount of time, we can already have lifecycle policies set aside to move that to a less expensive form of storage.
I think we have time for one more question, so I'll direct it to you, Anthony. And the question is, can you tell me a bit more about Custom Agent Desktop, and can I customize it for our specific deployment?
Yeah, so GTS has an out-of-the-box custom agent desktop that utilizes all the features we mentioned, like wisdom, cases, all of the channels. It shows the customer journey throughout the call center. But if there's a feature that you're missing in that set, or that you really, really wanted moving to the cloud environment, or that you had in your existing environment, it's something we can definitely work with you on. So it can be heavily customized per customer. It can also be, I've seen things like, if you have multiple businesses within your sphere of your call center, right? Maybe you have multiple like end customers that need to have different logos shown, or different phrasing or anything like that. That can also be like further customized and differentiated, so that way maybe like someone on one team needs to have different functionality and someone on the other team needs to have different functionality. All of the AWS tool sets that we have kind of support the ability to have that high degree of customization in a dynamic environment.
Thank you again to all of our panelists and participants for joining us today. We hope that you found this webcast informative and helpful to you and your agency. If you have any further questions or would like to request more information, please feel free to contact us. Our contact information is being displayed at the bottom of your screen, so please don't hesitate to call or email. Join us next time in late August for an ML focused webinar featuring a review of all our new AI offerings, and learn about supplementing existing workloads with AI, ML, and LLM products with AWS and GTS. And finally, in the next day or two, we'll be emailing you all a link to an archived version of this webcast, along with a few additional resources, so you can review it or pass it along to a colleague. Thank you again for attending, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody.